Welcome back to the Rated R for Wrestling channel. And every time there's a pay-per-view, you know what's going to happen that week of the pay-per-view. We're going to have a prediction live stream, and you already know who my guests are going to be. It's going to be Mekz from WrestleManiac UK and Dan from DWE. How are you guys doing today?
Very, very well, man. I was looking forward to this one because I haven't given this pay-per-view a lot of thought as to, who's going to win. So I'm interested for you to kind of show us who's in these matches and for me to make my decision on the spot,
Should be kind of interesting. How about you, Dan? How you doing?
God, the pandemic era is officially over. Torrents in AEW, yes. Torrents back in WWE. Money in the Bank's been a good build. It looks quite unpredictable as well. First time in a long time we've had an unpredictable pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, so that's what we got going on in this one. Now, all right, so this is going to be our third consecutive prediction of this panel here. So I've been keeping score, all right? I went back into the archives and I kept the score from NXT In Your House and from Hell in the Cell. Right, those are the two that we've done so far. All right, so in total, Dan, you are 8. 8 and 2.
Ooh.
Mekz, you are 8 and 2, and I am 9 and 1.
Oh,
as in so that's 9 correct, 1 incorrect.
1 incorrect. Yeah. So you have 8 correct, 2 incorrect. Now we all got in your house. We all picked Cameron Grimes for that ladder match, right? All three of us, we all picked Cameron Grimes. We all took a big L on that one. Now, when it came to Hell in the Cell, the only one that you guys got wrong was you guys picked Drew instead of Bobby. So that was the thing right there, yeah. Because they were two predictable pay-per-views. You guys kind of went like against the grain on those. So yeah, that was pretty much it. But we all got the calling LA Knight the loser in that match wrong. We all got that one wrong. So we're doing all right. All right, so we're all pretty much there in the running. So this one should be pretty interesting because this is a bit of an unpredictable pay-per-view because of the Money in the Bank matches, right? The other matches you can probably kind of guess who's going to win, who isn't. But yeah, Money in the Bank matches are kind of interesting. Now, as you know, you already know how this goes down. I like to ask you guys beforehand, what's the match you guys are most excited about? And I'll start with Mekz first.
The match I'm most excited about is probably, I'll say the men's Money in the Bank match. I feel there's a couple names in there that could win it. Obviously there's 8 possible people that could win it, but I think there's about probably a strong 2 or 3, and I'm quite happy for any of those 2 or 3 to win it. So rather than it being like a predictable, someone's gonna win it. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
What about you, Dan?
I'm gonna say Edge vs Roman. This was gonna be the main event of WrestleMania 37. We're getting a WrestleMania main event, a dream match, and this feud's been on. This has been a good feud at some Money in the Bank show.
Now let me ask you guys an interesting question. When it comes to the Money in the Bank matches, would you rather continue the 8-person format, or would you like to see it drop down to 6 people? I think 8 is a little bit too much for me.
8 is too much, but I just love a ladder match, so I don't even care. Yeah.
What about you, Dan? Do you like the 8-person format, or would you rather it be a 6-person?
I like the 8. It just adds that extra layer. It makes it a bit more carnage, a bit more unpredictable. Because with 6, you can factor it out a bit and you can narrow it down quite easily. With 8, that just 2 extra people, it makes it throws a lot of spanners in the work.
Well, you know how they work these matches, right? Like when they come to placement of who they put in, there's certain guys are there just for the spots, right? So we know there's 2 guys in that men's Money in the Bank. I'm a single them out right now, Ricochet and John Morrison, that they're there for the spots, right? Do they have a chance of winning? Of course they do. It'd be a big surprise to see either of them win, but it's pretty unpredictable. But they're there for the spots in general. Now, WWE's been a good run, a solid run of solid pay-per-views going, back over a year since the whole pandemic era started and everything like that. No fans. They've been knocking out good, solid, quality pay-per-views ever since this whole thing started. Now, this is the first pay-per-view to WrestleMania with fans. They're going to be in Texas, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see, how the crowd is going to play out for every single competitor. Who gets booed, who gets cheered, who gets the reaction you think they're going to get, who gets crickets, which is going to be probably the funniest part. Now, quick question. Does Roman Reigns get booed by anybody there?
Yes. 100%.
it's gonna be interesting. Like, if the fans gonna play their role, right? Like, play the part and boo the bad guy, or are they gonna be like, Roman Reigns is the man, we're gonna cheer him or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Because you run that kind of risk when the fans are smart like that. They kind of like that type of character. So it's gonna be kind of interesting. Now, I heard the rumors that he got booed a little bit at WrestleMania, so there was individuals kind of playing the part when it came to that. Because I doubt anybody doesn't like Roman Reigns at this moment.
But I will say at WrestleMania, he was up against more so Daniel Bryan than Edge. Daniel Bryan is the perennial babyface. Like, with him gone right now, I think Kofi Kingston's the biggest babyface in the company. Yeah, with Edge, yes, Edge is kind of, you can call it a tweener. He's the face in the scenario, but like, I mean, this is why I was saying a couple of weeks ago that when people were rumoring for Seth Rollins versus Roman, I said that is the worst thing that can happen, because a lot of people are on the fence with Seth's character. I personally like it, whatever it is, I like it.
Yeah.
But Seth would be booed in front of a crowd and Roman would be cheered, and that would be the end of Tribal Chief. So yeah, until, you know, Seth's character is more defined, keep those two apart. But yeah, I'm it's almost like Roman's gonna walk through the curtain and people may want to cheer him just to thank him for how good he's been. You see what I mean? So it's a difficult one, but I guess we'll see how it turns out on Sunday.
It will be kind of interesting. Now, since we're out of the pandemic era, at least in the States, right, with the terms of the touring back on, who do you guys say is the MVP of this whole year and a half pandemic, no fans in attendance, either Raw, SmackDown? Who has been the MVP for the main roster WWE? Because like I said, they've had a string of very solid pay-per-views going back over a year. Who's been the MVP?
For me, Drew McIntyre. Like, in the PC era as well, there's been a couple of standouts. Randy Orton as well.
Yeah.
They you know, no breaks. They went through with Mania. You know, you think you'd be derailed with, you know, you got to do the whole thing. You're centered around the whole show with no fans. But then too, they kept solid all the way throughout. And like, especially Drew, you know, he's kept the main event scene really interesting for a long time. And it only dwindled down towards WrestleMania way. And that was the only time it slowed down a bit.
True story. What about you, Max? What do you think?
If I'm to rank them, just like from the beginning of the pandemic and when, you know, the way the presentation of TV changed up till this point, I'm putting Bayley first. Because Bayley, even from the beginning when she was doing the tag team stuff, I think with Sasha and are they gonna turn or is she not? That was all fantastic. Right through last summer and everything was great. I'll put Drew McIntyre second because he probably had the hardest job of them all. First time champion, not in front of anybody, had to do champion stuff, not in front of anyone, no reaction. He like Dan said, it did begin to dwindle, you know, on this side of the year, the beginning of this year. But he's done a terrific job and he's definitely, I think, cemented himself in their minds as a top guy that, you know, we could always just go back to. I can't remember what I was watching, but Roman said, I think it was an interview that Roman done, and Roman said that Drew is his favorite number 2. And I think he said that in a promo as well before,
I think so, yeah. The Survivor Series build, I think it was,
yeah. And that's obviously Roman giving him the rub. I think Roman, he done an interview with Ryan Satin, and he was saying, Ryan Satin asked him who's next, who's going to pass the baton on to, and he said there's no one. But he said Drew is his favorite number 2. And so I think Drew's really put himself up there. And last but not least, I'm saying MVP.
I think
MVP has been fantastic in everything he's done, everything he's tried to do, and he came out of nowhere, literally from the Royal Rumble. We didn't see him again. I think we saw him again maybe 1 week after that. He's just been great. So yeah, those 3.
Yeah, I would say MVP was going to be my guy. It's kind of like the unsung hero of this whole pandemic era. As we come out of it now, is that guy who's been just there, the guy you didn't expect who was going to be the MVP of the MVP of this whole era. Is like he's been behind the scenes, been doing great stuff, carried a lot of the show, especially that empty arena period before they got the Thunderdome. That's a rough time. And there's no fans. They put the NXT people out there, but it just wasn't the same. And he was kind of, even though at one point he was running around with Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne, but still, as in terms of him in general, he did a very good job and he should be commended for that. But he did a very good job. I would also say I mean, Roman is the obvious, like, easy pick. You're gonna pick Roman, right? Because it's like he's the guy. But I would agree too as well, Drew McIntyre, and I would say Randy Orton too. I mean, Randy Orton is a guy who upped his game for some reason after the pandemic started. Like his game in terms of character and promo in ring promos and stuff like that just took it to a whole nother level. I think it was maybe Edge that brought the best out of him because he's never been that great of a promo. He seems like he's always kind of phoned it in, but he did a really good job this whole time, and it's really changed him as a character going forward. But yeah, we're finally out of this era. Now, before we get into the predictions and finish up this intro, let's start with Dan. Out of 5, what do you think this pay-per-view is going to be?
5. I'm going. The fans are going to be electric. Think about it. It's the first full crowd. Also, we had a bit of a crowd at Mania, but it's just the first proper crowd since well over a year. Like, it's gonna feel like a party. Like, you notice it with AEW, when they had full fans back, everyone was there. They're all probably drunk. You know, it's a party. It's gonna be a party atmosphere. We're gonna get big party atmosphere.
I mean, we might get like Road Rager had a really good crowd, so we could get something like that. A lot of guys really rabid, you know, enjoying it. I know we're gonna see some big spots, especially in the ladder match, because people are gonna be hyped that they got fans out there. They're gonna try to show out. But Mekz, what about you? Out of 5, what are you rating this?
Yeah, I think again I'm gonna go with 5. The performers have, you know, been gagging for this. They got a little taste of it at WrestleMania, but this is gonna be a full-on crowd and everything is allowed. It's not gonna be raining beforehand into the stadium. So yeah, I think that everyone's gonna give a great show, including WWE. I'm sure for Smackdown before Money in the Bank, they've got some surprises to pull. Money in the Bank for sure. I think Becky Lynch is returning. Amongst whoever walks out as winner of the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch is probably got to stand in their face at the end of that match. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm thinking 5 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, Becky Lynch, I saw a post of her recently working out. She looks like she's back into ring shape after having a kid and everything like that. So we'll see what happens if she does show up. But it'd be pretty interesting. Now, I'm a cynical son of a bitch, so I'm going to say this is like going to be like a 3.2. I'm going to go low with it because I kind of feel like there's going to be some things. I kind of feel like they're not going to hit their stride immediately when the fans are there. I kind of feel like we've been hyped up thinking that they're going to like show out completely and they put on a hell of a show because the fans are there. I think in ring, you're going to see some solid stuff, but I think in terms of overall impact, it's not going to be that impactful. And I just don't trust WWE enough to come out of the gates completely like running on all cylinders as soon as they see all the fans. So I'm being cynical and pessimistic about it. So we'll see what happens. But let's get into the first. Now we were supposed to get Bayley versus Bianca Belair on this pay-per-view. Obviously, Bayley got injured last SmackDown training. It was supposedly a mandatory back on the road training at the Performance Center. This is where she got hurt, tore ACL, out for 9+ months. So they changed the match. She's going to take on Carmella instead of Bianca Belair, but it'll be happen on SmackDown, and Liv Morgan will be taking the spot of Carmella in the women's Money in the Bank. So they added this match because this match was supposed to take place on Raw this upcoming Monday and will be taking place on Money in the Bank. And it's this Raw Tag Team title match. Omos, AJ Styles taking on the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. Not something we're super excited about. And it obviously wasn't going to be in the pay-per-view, but since they had to call an audible, it is on the pay-per-view, which it is what it is. I'll start off first. I don't think there's going to be a title switch here whatsoever. I think they're going to run into SummerSlam with these championships and then probably drop the titles there. I think, generally speaking, Omos, AJ Styles hold on to the titles here. I know they're not the greatest tag team. I know people aren't super excited about it. I know Omos isn't on everybody's like top work rate list. But and AJ, everybody wants AJ to be doing something better, singles capacity. And I think Eric and Ivar will eventually get these titles because they're the only other tag team pretty much on Monday Night Raw right now, other than New Day, but New Day's in the main title picture. I just think AJ and Omos hold on to it and probably drop it maybe in a multi-tag team match at SummerSlam. But I'll kick it over to Mekz. What do you think about this match?
I thought, okay, so when this match was going to be on Raw, I did think that the Viking Raiders are going to win. I thought this was going to be, something when you get that first crowd back, do a title change that gets the crowd hype.
Yep.
I'm still in a mind to think that because I'm not sure, what other titles on the night will be changing hands. So I am tempted to still say that Viking Raiders are going to beat AJ Styles and Omos. Yeah, I'll go with that.
There you go. So you're picking Viking Raiders. I'm sticking with AJ and Omos. What about you, Dan?
I ain't going AJ Omos. Like, this match can be really fun though. Like people forget how good Viking Raiders are in the ring. The stuff they can do is unbelievable. Whacking out. We all know how good AJ is. I know, they're going to do some cool big man stuff with Omos, which you're not going to get with anyone else in WWE at the moment. Like, it's going to be a hype match. But yeah, AJ and Omos wins it for me.
There you go. Nice and simple. Now, okay, so how do you think this plays out towards SummerSlam? Because like I said, there's like really no other tag teams, right? Does the Lucha House Party, do you think they'll go multi-person tag match for SummerSlam since it's a big show? Do you think the titles won't even be defended at all? What are you guys looking in terms of SummerSlam outlook for these tag team titles? Let's do both SmackDown and Raw, because SmackDown is like non-existent with these tag team titles.
The SmackDown tag team championships will 100% be on the show, be on SummerSlam, 100%. Yeah. Because they are going to probably do Ray and his son versus the
Usos. Yep.
That is that's right now, because of everything around it. That's a big money match. So I think that's 100% going to be on the show. The Raw tag team championships, I doubt it. They'll probably just leave it off the show or kick off show it or something at best. Yeah.
What about you, Dan? What do you think?
I think it'll lead to RK Bro, and that's probably when RK Bro will get the titles.
That's a good shot.
I think that is a big money match. Well, Matt Riddle has been one of the best things on Raw for a long time now. And this Orton pairing, like, at first I didn't think it was going to work, but it's grown on me. It's grown on me lots throughout the weeks, especially with them, Orton being mad that he didn't get Money in the Bank and Riddle did. And it's all like, it could lead to a big title win and it'd be a big crowd popper. And SummerSlam, they're going to need all the stops, and Randy Orton is one of them. They need to whip out the bag.
Now, the RK Bro thing is an interesting one, because there was issues kind of brewing with the whole Money in the Bank qualifying. We haven't seen Randy in like 2 to 3 weeks. Where has he been? We don't know. I kind of feel like they were leading to maybe like or already a breakup. Like it wasn't going to actually be a tag team, because they haven't like officially been like a tag team yet. Maybe we get the big joining of forces and they finally become an actual tag team at SummerSlam or leading up to it. But it's a good shout that you said RK Bro. I totally forgot about them actually even becoming an actual tag team because of the issues. Randy Orton been gone, Riddle's been like pointing to the sky like if he's passed away and stuff. So it's interesting stuff. Okay, so all right, we're 2 of us are picking AJ and Omos. Mekz is the only one picking Viking Raiders for this match. Let's kick it over to the women's Money in the Bank. Now, we have one woman that has not been announced yet. I assume she'll be from the SmackDown roster. So far, the field is Zelina Vega, Asuka, Naomi, Nikki Ash, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Natalya, and then the one mystery person. So I guess we'll start the prediction off as to who's going to be the last person coming from SmackDown to join and be part of this. I'm personally going to say it's either going to be Toni Storm if they're going to like bring her quick, even though I said coming soon when her vignette showed up last week. Or I think surprise, maybe like Shotzi Blackheart or something like that. If she's part of the SmackDown roster, I think it's going to be somebody like in that vein. Because really, I can't name anybody else off the top of my head that I think is on SmackDown that could actually be part of this, because I think they got everybody covered. Unless you want to put Tamina in there. But I could get over to, let's go to Mekz first. Mekz, what do you think? Who do you think is a mystery person?
Well, we're saying mystery. They just haven't had the last qualifying match yet. So maybe it's not a mystery completely, but especially with the absence of Bayley, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sasha Banks.
Okay.
Bring her back. That's a high profile person that makes this match a lot more important. And she can win the briefcase, torment Bianca Belair for half a year or so with the briefcase. I think Sasha Banks would be a really fun briefcase holder. But what other women are there from SmackDown currently?
That's the tough one. I can't off the top of my head. Liv Morgan's in it.
Zelina Vega.
It's tough. Like the roster right now is kind of odd. Like you can't really name a ton of them.
I mean, it is. You know why? Because I'm already discounting the fact that someone from Raw will win it, because I think Becky's coming back, and there's no point putting the briefcase on Raw if Becky will be there to join the likes of Rhea and Charlotte as the top women on that brand. So I can only see someone for SmackDown winning it. However, SmackDown's choices aren't the best. Natalya, that's the other one. Natalya, Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it is whoever is going to be this fourth person, Toni Storm or Sasha Banks. Yeah.
Well, Sasha Banks is a big one. I'm going to put the graphic back up, right? if you look at the star power in terms of the women's roster, it's barren here. I mean, literally, Asuka, Zelina Vega, I guess, and Alexa Bliss. Everybody else really isn't like a perennial kind of person that's kind of like at the top of the card all the time when it comes to the women. Naomi there at round Royal Rumble season, that's when she starts getting into that spot. So it's not there yet. So I wouldn't put her in that category yet. So if it's Sasha Banks, I mean, she becomes like the absolute favorite, obviously, but it does make it even more unpredictable, because do you really think Sasha will come back at that immediately and kind of win it like that? It'd be kind of interesting. But then who do you think is gonna be the last person? Now it's got to be a SmackDown person, I assume, right? Because they want to keep it 4-4, right?
Not a clue. I'd like to see Tegan Nox in it just because she's Welsh, you know. It'd be a Welsh person in a high profile spot. But Sasha, you can see it already. Boss in the bank, you know, you can see all that already. So I'd say Tegan Nox will enter it. And then win it, it's a lottery pick.
Definitely. But let's get to this comment first, because like you're saying Tegan Nox, but look at this one. Noob and Co would say the final person is Sonya Deville, her putting herself in there. What do you guys think about that one?
So they've been saying for some time that they had plans to put Sonya back in the ring, and then something happened. So they, you know, she's still in this kind of GM role. It could be Sonya Deville. That's a very good guess. My issue is still who wins it. Sonya, Natalia's not winning it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Zelina and Liv Morgan, like I said, I'm discounting the Raw side of things. Between any of them, like, I just don't know. Like, if Zelina didn't come back and lose to Liv Morgan, or if Zelina was re-debuted at the pay-per-view, then cool.
Maybe,
yeah, maybe. But I really don't know. Like, it sounds wild that I'm saying Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks not even in the match, and I'm saying Sasha Banks is going to be the surprise and she's going to win it. But I don't know who else could, so I'll stick with Sasha Banks.
There you go. So Dan, what do you think about this Sonya Deville call out by Noob and Co right here?
Well, I thought about it in my head, and I was like trying to think of an answer. I thought maybe she'd come back, but I think that might be a bit too, like, it's a bit too obvious for her to come back and put herself in a match. And she's doing, I think she's okay where she's at now in this GM role. I think it's perfectly fine for her. Yeah, like, if it has to be SmackDown, then it's got to be one of the new call-ups, probably Tegan Nox or Shotzi. But
that's why I'm picking. I think Shotzi for me is that person. Like, you're picking Tegan Nox, I'm picking Shotzi for that. You're picking Sasha Banks, Mekz. I think that's the thing. Is Shotzi and Tegan actual SmackDown superstars at the moment? Were they just there for a one-off? Was it foreshadowing for the draft that they'll be brought up? It'd be interesting. But I think Shotzi. But again, like, the star power again is pretty. I don't want to say, I guess, weak if you want to look at the compared to, like, you know, what they have on the roster, who's in this. Now we'll get to the predictions of who's going to win the match. We're predicting more or less who that last person is going to be. It has to be a SmackDown superstar. Let's get to who we think is actually going to win the match. And for me, the only viable person that makes any sense is got to be Alexa Bliss. I mean, unless Sasha Banks is that final person, but I'm not counting her as the final person. I'm counting as just who we have here. Who else could it be? I mean, like, Alexa Bliss is the only person there who's prominent on the show. She's obviously a former champion. She hasn't done much in terms of in-ring stuff recently. Just now she's starting to get in the ring a little bit, but I just think Alexa Bliss might be kind of interesting with the belt, with the briefcase, even though her stuff she's been doing is kind of cringe recently, like kind of corny, especially with the doll. And she's been kind of booked as kind of a good guy, like a baby face recently. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking Alexa Bliss, but I'll kick it over to Dan. Dan, who do you think is going to win this one?
So yeah, I in my head think Bliss or Naomi. Those are the two I'm tied up with, because Naomi is quite a safe one to put it on.
Yeah.
You know, because you could have a good title run with Naomi and fans go crazy for her winning it. But yeah, Bliss, she is the main woman in that whole batch of superstars. Like, she's the prominent big star. But I don't know. I don't know if she needs the briefcase really, because she got all these superpowers now. So, but I'm gonna go with Naomi. I think. Tell you what, they gave her a battle royal at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, so they're not afraid to put her in the big wins. Give her the big wins, and it'd be a really feel good moment for us, like especially after what's happened as well. So I can go with Naomi.
That is true. So she did recently get like some harassment online for the stuff that happened with Jimmy Uso. You know, his personal stuff, getting the DUI. So they could put it on her. Because I mean, they like to capitalize on certain things when people are kind of relevant in terms of social media and stuff like that, for whether it be a good reason or a bad reason. They like to do that. So it could be a total possibility. One thing though, Mills Dom in the chat says, how about Tamina or Mandy Rose? Now, as the mystery person, Mandy Rose makes a ton of sense, right? To be the person, to be the mystery person. But the thing is, like, they'll have the odd number. Raw will have more superstars on there than SmackDown would, and they want to keep it, I think, 4-4. Tamina makes sense as well because her partner's in it, so why not put her in it? She's from SmackDown technically, even though she kind of goes from show to show because they're tag team champions. They're pretty interesting to see. But I'll get over to Mekz. Mekz, who you got winning?
Naomi is a great shout for everything Dan said. Like I said, I'm kind of fixated that it's not going to be someone from Raw because I'm expecting Becky to return. So I'm thinking it's a SmackDown lady. And as well, your when you said Alexa Bliss, Anthony, I thought that's another great shout because I can imagine them doing some type of custom briefcase or make it like a lunchbox or something like that for Alexa Bliss, which could be cool. But yeah, I think it's someone for SmackDown. If I'm looking at the current field, I have to go with Zelina Vega.
Okay, that's an interesting shout there because she just came back, right? And she wasn't on this past week's SmackDown, correct? Right? I don't remember seeing, she wasn't there.
But yeah, she wasn't.
She debuted the week before, lost the match against Liv Morgan, didn't show up this week. I guess because that's probably punishment for Malachi Black showing up on Dynamite. You know how that works.
Well, that's true. They might want to put to bed the fact that there is a punishment and they give her the briefcase.
True.
She would be phenomenal with the briefcase. I think we could all admit that. And at the same time, I don't know if you guys saw these stories, but WWE actually apologized for getting rid of her the first time round because of all the Twitch related stuff.
Yeah.
So this could be part of the apology.
Tour. There you go.
Yeah. And of course, she's got a story from her first run with Bianca Belair already. Those two were going at it before, so yeah, I'm not convinced, but I'll go with Zelina Vega.
Now, this is a lot tougher to call than the men's because like the men's has more formidable people in it where you kind of just like, I think this guy has a chance to win it. This makes more sense. The women's one is very wide open because nobody really is kind of like dominant and seems like that important. I guess the lack of a better term, important enough to hold it for an extended period of time to make things interesting. Zelina is an interesting one though because it's very, how would I say, AEW-esque, where they have somebody come into the company, whether it's a return, or a debut, and they immediately win something that gives them that push to that main event picture. So it makes a ton of sense. But if there's AEW, that means they would lose and disappear for a while. So we'll see what happens with Zelina because that's what AEW tends to work. But let's get over to the chat real quick. C Nation Dog will go on to say the mystery person in the women's Money in the Bank could be Brock Lesnar because he has long hair and a ponytail now. Yeah, I mean he's sporting one hell of a ponytail. He saw his pictures online. It was his birthday. He was cutting meat at the butcher shop. Sick ponytail. And I personally think it looks good on him as a good look for him. I think it looks solid on him. So I mean, pretty solid stuff there. If he's in it, he wins it. Kavion Martin, thank you for joining us in the chat. He says, I think it's going to be Liv Morgan because she's the only one that really has been built up for the match. That's a good point. Because she does have that issue with Sonya Deville going in. So that could lead to Sonya Deville being the final person because Liv Morgan has issues with her. I also could see something cheap happening where Carmella loses on Friday night and then gets thrown in to the match on Sunday night. I could see that going down as well. Something corny like that, something cheap, real cheeky thing to happen. That's good idea. Liv Morgan is a person that's been there for a minute. She hasn't done much. She was part of the Riot Squad, obviously. Really hasn't done a ton. She had the little push with the whole Lana Rusev thing, and that kind of just got thrown away. Could be pretty interesting. What do you guys think about this Liv Morgan shout from Kavion?
Yes, but the thing is, I don't think Liv Morgan or there isn't enough evidence to show that Liv Morgan can carry this briefcase, cut promos, chase down a champion. I just don't think there's enough there. And this is part of the reason I chose Zelina. Zelina's someone that you at least give her the mic with this briefcase. She's already kind of shown she's had that kind of business-esque side of her. Give her the briefcase, give her the microphone. She could, cut the promos and she could be very sneaky with her approach to try and cash it in. And yeah, Liv Morgan would have to do, you know, similar to what, you know, Rob Van Dam done all those years ago. Bianca Belair, let's meet on the ring at this time on this day, and I'll cash in then. You see what I mean? Like, I think it's a bit too early for Liv Morgan, or this character just hasn't shown a side where it could be her. But I do agree she's had the best kind of story to get to this point.
Yeah, she's the only person that has actually like kind of, in terms of continuity and kind of the creative side of it, it makes the most sense probably for her to win it. In terms of who do you think actually carry that, that's a little bit more a bit of a debate. But Dan, what do you think? What do you think about Liv Morgan?
For me, Liv, he's gonna be more of a slow, steady build. I think that's what we get into with Liv Morgan. It's more she's slowly gonna get to the top. We're starting it now. By Survivor Series time, then she maybe get to the top and it'll be a big blow off. But they're gonna do it slowly.
Man, it makes sense. Yeah, I think maybe the blow off between her and Sonya Deville. Maybe that's when Sonya Deville makes her come back into the ring. Is probably in a feud, a program against Liv Morgan. We got Zach from West Coast Popcast. Shotzi and Tegan are listed as being on the SmackDown roster, and with those names, damn it, they have those names as like short, like as Shotzi and Knox. I'm assuming is what they're going to be their names. I was really hoping that wasn't going to be a real thing, but I guess it is. And keep Tamina's ass off the show. Zach, not a big Tamina fan. If you guys didn't know, Zach from West Coast Podcast is not the biggest Tamina fan you ever meet. But yeah, so if they're listed on the SmackDown roster, it sucks that they're listed as probably Shotzi and just Knox, which is absolutely just terrible. They could be. I mean, if you follow Shotzi Blackheart on Instagram, she recently posted a picture of her winning the briefcase of the War Games to get into War Games, you know, to get I think it was the advantage for War Games. She's winning it. So it could be her kind of trolling and putting a picture of her on top of a ladder, grabbing her briefcase. But she put that up, I think, today on her Instagram. So, you know, you never know. C Nation Dog. I hear people say Drew McIntyre doesn't need the Money in the Bank, while people want Alexa Bliss needs the Money in the Bank. No, she doesn't. She's a five-time women's champion. Yeah, but it's just like she hasn't done anything recently. Like she hasn't even she's barely even wrestled. So in terms of, she's just a lot of character work. I think it may be kind of interesting for her to you know, hold on to that for a little bit. To be honest with you. Noob and Co. I got Naomi or Asuka. Since Asuka lacking big wins, the least she can do is return the favor to the company. So I'm going with Asuka or Naomi after being harassing online over the weekend. Yeah, so you're on board with Dan there, because like I think that's more probably, if it happens, probably do something like that. They want to capitalize a little bit on that, whether it be good or bad. It's just, you know, they want to capitalize on some type of notoriety when it comes to social media and anything going on online. C Nation Dog, I hope the Fiend Bray Wyatt returns and costs Alexa Bliss the Money in the Bank. That's an interesting one, guys. So it's just like what the payoff would be from that. It'd be kind of interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's getting the Fiend involved, because yeah, Alexa Bliss costed him his WrestleMania match, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she? So yeah, I think that could be a fun little angle, because ultimately, like you said, she's been the most featured going into this. She's got supernatural powers, so really and truly, she should just win this with the least effort, you know. So yeah, mate, that could be something. Look, the crowds are back, so they're not going to be able to pull off all the hokey stuff in front of a live audience, but we're going to get something special on this show, 100%. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like the lights turn out and then he appears, cost of the match. And then maybe, I mean, because like the payoff between the two is like, you really can't do a match, right? Because they don't really like to do the intergender matches in ring. So it could be a cinematic match where they do some type of crazy, you know, shooting fireballs at each other, some crazy stuff like that, you know, something weird. It's to that effect, not them actually fighting each other, but using supernatural abilities to kind of battle each other and kind of, I don't know, see who wins in the end. But Dan, what do you think about that? What about Bray Wyatt costing her the match?
I think if Bray returns, I think he'd be separate from Alexa Bliss. I think they might just kill her off the story, because I think they do need a backup plan if Lesnar don't come for SummerSlam, and the only real options are the Fiend or Goldberg. So I think if the Fiend's back, he's gonna call out Lashley. You know, that's the only real big match they can do for the championship, unless it's Goldberg.
It's true. I mean, it makes sense. It's asking a lot, but you got to kind of tie up a loose end there, because I remember he leaves for personal reasons, Bray Wyatt, in the middle of the kind of she screws him out of the match. So you really didn't get any closure out of it. So, I mean, It eventually got to happen. You got to tie that loose end up. West Coast Pop, Tegan Knox still has both names. At least we could rejoice in that, but it sucks to be Shotzi, man. If they're going to cut Blackheart out of it, I mean, damn. That sucks. We got C Nation Dog saying, fun fact, Asuka be the second person behind CM Punk to win the Money in the Bank 2 years in a row if she wins. Could be pretty interesting. Did they go down that route?
No.
Well, it's... I don't see it. No, I don't see it happening.
I think if she wasn't in this whole like tag team thing with Naomi, I think maybe she had a better shot.
I guess, but I mean, it's pretty clear to see now that Asuka won last year to be, you know, while Charlotte wasn't around and all of that, they needed a big, a top lady on top at Raw when Becky was pregnant, and it became abundantly obvious that Asuka couldn't really even carry Raw on herself. If it wasn't for Bayley and Sasha kind of getting involved with her, yeah, it wouldn't have been that great. So I can't see them going back to Asuka again. Yeah,
that makes total sense. To a perfect point. Like she was thrust into that spot because of Becky having to leave. So she just couldn't, not in terms of she couldn't handle it, just didn't know how to position her in a way to handle it and kind of carry the torch on the way. Yes, I don't think they'll go back either. Quick thing in the chat, sports fan, I'm surprised Apollo hasn't had a title defense on pay-per-view since he won the title at Mania. That's so weird, to be honest with you. It's so odd. Like he's not even on this pay-per-view, which doesn't make any sense. Dan, what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that Apollo has not defended that title on a pay-per-view since he won a title at Mania? He's coming from a sports fan here.
I'm actually shocked because I feel like he has been good with the belt, and like the title matches he's had on SmackDown, they have been entertaining, and he's always felt like a good heel champion. You know, you feel he can win, but at any time, that title could go off him because when he looks like losing, obviously Aziz steps in then. But like I think I'm shocked. I thought he had a title defense on pay-per-view because he's been a good IC champion, and like. He probably will. His time will come to have a pay-per-view match. It's just I'm assuming they would rather do it when they got an actual building storyline for a certain match to be on a pay-per-view, then just chuck some random one in if they got nothing on for him.
That makes sense. It does. But I think Loki, he has been pretty solid as IC champ so far in the run he's had. What do you think about it, Mekz?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, even I was actually thinking about this afternoon. Like, how come he's not on the card again? And Sheamus. Now, obviously, with Sheamus, he had a great run of matches and everything. They congratulated him for everything he had done by giving him the US Championship at WrestleMania. And since then, nothing. And this is even before, he busted his nose. And that obviously put him on the shelf for a bit. But, like, you just give these guys these titles and then it's like, oh, we don't have any plan for them. And yeah, we saw Damian Priest kind of step to Sheamus last night on Raw. So that could be good going into SummerSlam, Damian Priest versus Sheamus. That would be pretty interesting. But you're making these belts die. You see what I mean? You're killing them off because you're not booking them into your biggest shows of the year. Like it just makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. So like they're going with the shorter pay-per-views recently, right? They're shorter, right? They all feel like is in your houses. Like they all feel kind of just there. It's not super important. They're kind of just fun. You get through them quickly. It's not late when they finish. You can cut it. I could do my reviews afterwards and it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning over here on the States. It makes sense. So it could be a product of that, a byproduct of the fact that they're cutting with shorter pay-per-views. So they have less matches. I think if you would have been in the era where these things went like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I think you see these guys more on pay-per-views, but since they want to go with the shorter route of pay-per-views, that's why we're not getting them so much. Mills Dom in the chat says Asuka is really cold at the moment. She isn't winning anything. We agree with you. Yeah. I mean, after the run she had as champion, I don't think you're going to go with her for champion for a while. She could be, I don't want to say kind of buried and gone for now, but I mean, she might be, to be honest with you. She might be kind of buried and gone, being meandering around the roster, not doing a ton. They might just throw her in there just to be that way. There's C Nation Dog, there's 5 people in the Raw Women's Division. I don't know who are baby faces or who are heels. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Natalya, Tamina, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, I guess they're heels, right? Because keep making, who the hell knows? I mean, to be honest, I have no idea. All I know is Alexa Bliss kind of is a babyface now.
Let's get to this. I think it's her relationship with Dewdrop and Nikki Ash that have kind of made her a bit of a babyface.
Yeah, I think so as well. So, C Nation Dog, Sheamus has not defended the U.S. Championship on pay-per-view besides defending it on Backlash kickoff show against Ricochet. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too happy about that they had it on the kickoff show, to be honest with you. I think Sheamus shouldn't be at the kickoff show. He deserves better than that. But we'll see going forward. But let's kick it over to this next match here. And so we're talking about the Raw Women. Let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship match. We could run it back again. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley again for this Raw Women's Championship match. Now, does the title finally swap here? Does it stay on Rhea Ripley? Mekz, I'll kick it over to you first because you've been saying this whole stream how Becky Lynch is coming back. Who do you think is going to win first and then challenge Becky Lynch immediately?
I mean, SummerSlam is going to be the WrestleMania of this year. So it would make perfect sense if it's Charlotte and Becky. At SummerSlam. I don't know. I honestly think if Charlotte wins this at this point from Rhea Ripley, they have killed Rhea Ripley, and they are slowly killing Rhea Ripley. Yep. I made a video not too long ago about how come Charlotte, as big as she is, she can't kind of elevate this feud. Like, Charlotte gets into good positions and makes herself look good, but her competitors never kind of get that same rub, having matches with her and feuds with her. I'm gonna back Rhea Ripley to retain legally here. Obviously, she cheated in their last match, and that's how she retained. So I'm gonna back Rhea Ripley on this one. And
then Becky comes out with and challenges Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, but you at SummerSlam, it's probably gonna be a triple threat with Charlotte involved. So yeah.
That makes total sense. Always keep Charlotte in it. Yeah. What about you, Dan? Let me know what you think about this match. Do you agree with Mekz too? In the end, will Becky Lynch be the one to come out?
I don't know. I think Becky Lynch will probably show up. I don't know what capacity, but I think they gotta bring out the big stars, and she's definitely one of them. So I think the pop for her will be massive as well. This match is quite, I don't know, because they can either try a little bit with Rhea, because the thing is, it's so different now, their booking compared to what it was in the Thunderdome. They now got to start thinking again, what are fans going to want to see? You know, what reaction will Rhea Ripley get? So I think they will stick it out with Rhea just to see if that, because a lot of fans do like Rhea Ripley. So I think they'll stick it out with Rhea, see how she goes with fans there. And then if she improves, obviously she can keep that title. And if she don't, then they'll drop it down the line. But yeah, I think Becky does come out, and she'll set up Becky versus Rhea at SummerSlam.
Okay, so you're picking Rhea as well to win this matchup. I'm going Charlotte, to be honest with you. I just don't think right now that Rhea's really doing it. And I think they're just going to go back to Old Faithful and go back to the well when they know it works, right? If Becky's the one to come out, I mean, Becky has to come out for a big pay-per-view. She's not going to come out for anything in between. It's either going to be SummerSlam, it's either going to be Survivor Series, Rumble, or Mania if she plans to come back in this calendar year. Well, Rumble and Mania next calendar year. But during these next few months, she's got to come out one of those pay-per-views because she's not going to be wasted as a return for Great Balls of Fire if they ever decide to bring that one back. Stuff like that. So it could be something like that. I think Charlotte, if she's going to come out, it's going to be against Charlotte because they love going back to the well. WWE loves going back to what works. Hogan is what works. That's what they went back to all the time. Hogan works. Let's give it back to Hogan. Hogan must pose at the end. Let's give the title back to Austin because we know Austin works. Rock works. Cena works. These guys work. Let's go back to the well because we know what works. Real quick, when I get to the comments, Mike Messier says, subscribe to Mike Messier's YouTube channel. There you go. Subscribe to his channel. He's going to say they should book Rhea versus Charlotte in a gift certificate to the plastic surgeon on a pole match. It's an interesting one there. Yeah. A lot of work being done. Mike, he would also go on to say tired and sick instead of traditional sick and tired. Nice variant. He's talking about right here. C Nation Dog would say, why is Charlotte Flair always in the title picture? I'm tired and sick of it. I mean, a lot of people are, to be honest with you. A lot of people are not happy about her continuously being there. Nubicos says the only face in the Raw Women's division is Asuka. And to be honest, I'm curious, when will Asuka take some time off? I think she should have taken the time off after WrestleMania. That would have been the time she she should have taken off and come back around maybe this time for Money in the Bank or something like that, because she's not been doing anything whatsoever. C Nation Dog, there's one thing Asuka has, and she's the only person to be Raw Women's, SmackDown Women's, NXT Women's Tag Team, Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner. So I mean, she's done all that, extremely accomplished. That's why I don't think she's gonna win anything for a while. To be honest with you, C Nation Dog say Naomi's also a babyface. Yeah, as she is. We go on to say Noob and Co here. Charlotte didn't anyone, not even Asuka, and I agree with Mekz a few days ago. Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Becky elevate Asuka. C Nation Dog here would say, I think and want Big E to win Money in the Bank. Riddle doesn't need to win it because he and Randy Orton are going to win tag team championships. Mike Messier, Great Balls of Fire was a good show. I mean, Brock versus Samoa Joe, right? That's what you remember it for. It's just, but like, it gets the tag of Great Balls of Fire. It's like, why the hell did they decide to make the pay-per-view name that? And anyways, didn't make any sense. But it was good. I mean, like that match, Brock and Samoa Joe was good stuff. Nubico, Charlotte Flair to retain. We might see a random triple threat match between Asuka, Becky, and Charlotte at SummerSlam. It's interesting how he takes Rhea Ripley out and puts Asuka in there. It's an interesting take right there. Because like, I guess these, you know, I mean, it's all subjective at that point. So it's like, what do you pick going into it? Do you think Rhea's just not the person? Do you think Asuka's the person? Do you think they believe in Asuka in any way whatsoever, other than just having her there? They just need to put the title on her. It's interesting. See, Nation Dog, Riddle is basically the new Otis, and you know what happened when Otis was Money in the Bank. Yeah, you remember what happened with him? That was pretty fun. Mike Messi, have a good weekend, gentlemen. Mike, thank you for joining us. You too as well, brother. See, Nation Dog, Great Balls of Fire would only make sense if it was an Inferno match. I mean, an Inferno match, and I guess if they were naked or something. Somebody's balls got to be on fire there. All right, so let's kick it over to another match here, and it's this one right here. We have Bobby Lashley, the WWE champion, the almighty WWE champion, taking on Kofi Kingston. You know, he's back, I guess, as the almighty. He's been kind of weak recently with the whole partying, all that stuff. Now, at the end of Monday Night Raw, he kind of becomes the almighty again. He seems upset. He's tired of the VIP lifestyle and all that stuff like that. So does he take a more serious route? Does he hold on to the title here? And who does he face at SummerSlam? I'll start it off by saying I think he holds on to the title, and I think he faces Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I'm still going down, down that road, even though it may not happen. But I'm picking Bobby Lashley to win in dominant fashion, and I'll kick it over to Mekz next.
Everything he said, man. I think he's gonna absolutely annihilate Kofi Kingston. Why they got him pinned by Xavier Woods the week of his match at the pay-per-view doesn't make much sense to me, but yeah, I think he's just going to make an example of Kofi Kingston like he did for Xavier Woods in the Hell in a Cell match. So yeah, Bobby Lashley to retain, and this whole change and shift of attitude of no more girls, no more this, that, and the other, I think that is hopefully to prepare him mentally for Brock Lesnar and make him fierce again. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because like the switch, all right, so it's the tale of two Bobby Lashleys. He loses because he's not focused in the beginning of the show. Then he kind of destroys everything and says he's refocused. So he has to destroy this guy because it has to be able to take on Lesnar because Lesnar's at a different level. So he has to be able to match that. And he has to destroy Kofi Kingston and then to be on that level where he's serious again and he's the almighty again. But Dan, what do you think?
Oh, the thing is, at first, you see Xavier's beat him, and I really love Kofi, so I've been amazed. At first, for all time, Kofi does actually have a good chance. And then Lashley, that's exactly what you wanted to hear from Lashley. That's exactly what the champion should say. He came out, then he's strong, fierce. No more girls, no more this. I'm going to just focus on destroying people. And after he said that, you could tell from the promo, the grit in his voice, you could tell he's angry, he's fired up. It's gonna be fun to watch. And as much as I love Kofi, I think Lashley's gonna destroy him now.
I think that's the route they have to go because if they don't, I think they run the risk of him not. If they come out with Lesnar, if Lesnar's the guy to take him on at SummerSlam, I think it's a wasted opportunity there. So we're all going with Lashley for this match here, which I think it makes total sense. Let's see. We have Noob and Co. Lashley retains hopefully against Lesnar. Yeah, I hope he does take on Lesnar. I hope he retains here dominant fashion, takes on Lesnar at SummerSlam, and beats Lesnar. because then it takes you to another level after you beat Lesnar. C Nation Dog, I feel sorry for AJ Styles because he takes the losses while Omos takes the wins. Yeah, I mean, that's the point of the tag team right now, is for AJ to take all the bumps, make everything look cool, and then get beat up so Omos can kind of come in and be the monster that obviously is. Sports fan, apparently there are rumors that Goldberg will face Lashley at SummerSlam. He's right about this, sports fan here. He brings up a legitimate rumors saying that Goldberg is the guy to take on Lashley because they may not have Lesnar. What do you guys think?
100%. I'm so down for that.
You're down for
100%.
Goldberg for Lashley? Okay, all right.
Goldberg's under. Tell you what, people, they crap on Goldberg too much these days. Like, we saw his match with Drew, it was class. And these two are two big lads, like, going at it, which, you know, we rarely get. It will, and like, crap, it's perfect for the crowd. That SummerSlam, that party crowd. You know, just be 10 minutes, spear through barricade, jackhammers, go through table, Lashley do the spear. It'd just be power move, done. It'd be that type of match.
I mean, it makes sense when you do a Goldberg match and it's under 10 minutes, it tends to be a pretty solid match. You got to keep them short, you got to keep them quick, impactful, and everything like that. But Mekz, what do you think? I mean, I know you want Lesnar, right? But if you get Goldberg, are you going to be like sad about it?
Well, let's not kid ourselves. If it is Lesnar, the chances are it's probably still a 10-minute match.
Yeah,
Lesnar is just, you know, a bigger name, a more credible name. Like Dan, I didn't mind the Goldberg Drew McIntyre match at Royal Rumble. I did spend the majority of the 2 weeks beforehand absolutely crapping my pants, thinking that, oh my God, Goldberg is gonna win here. But it wasn't the case. Drew retained. The only thing for me, I don't mind Goldberg versus Lashley if they can't get Lesnar. That my only thing is that how many more times will Goldberg just walk into the number one contender's position after not winning it after so many attempts? See what I mean? Like, there's only so many times he can do that before they just don't use him anymore, which is fine with me, or he has to win it. Like, so yeah, I think if they do go Lashley Goldberg and he wins, that's twice in a year where he came in straight, challenged for the title and lost. They can't do that again. They just leave him away from the title, and if he's still gonna have matches, just give him, you know, marquee matches without the title being involved.
That's true story. Yeah, I doubt that as well. That they're gonna have him lose twice to the champion in 1 year. I don't think they're gonna do that with the likes of Goldberg. C Nation Dog, I'll be fine with Roman Reigns being Universal Champion for 1 year, but if he holds it till WrestleMania 38, he will be stale. You're wrong about that, dude. You're wrong. You're just wrong.
Very wrong.
I think you're wrong. I can't agree with you on that, C Nation Dog. I just can't. The man can be a 3-year champion. I think he'll still be good, to be honest with you. C Nation, I want to see Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. I think you're the only one, bro. I don't want to see that one. I don't want to see Reigns and Goldberg. I'd rather see Lashley and Goldberg, but I don't want to see Reigns and Goldberg. Like when they first brought that out for WrestleMania, and it didn't happen, obviously, because of COVID with Reigns. I don't want to see that match. Dan, do you want to see that match, Reigns Goldberg?
Well, it's going to happen. I personally don't mind it, but for me, that's not a Mania match. Reigns Goldberg is more like a normal pay-per-view for me. But I don't mind seeing it happen. It'd be a good match.
I mean, it could be solid, but like it's just like I feel like Reigns' character is like at another level where that he doesn't need to have that kind of match. He needs to have a match against a name like a Cena, like a Rock, where it's like out of this world type of match. At least build, anyways. C Nation Dog say I understand why people get mad at old talent getting the spotlight, because if they can still go, then it's fine. Now, the only thing is, can Goldberg really go? He never really could, right? It was just more of like come in, smash, gone, right? So that's the kind of way you got to do his matches. Like, you remember him versus Lesnar Mania was a good match because it was like 6, 7, 8 minutes, and it was just quick, smashful, smash mouth, and that's what you want out of it. Guys on the main roster have to earn title match, while Goldberg can just come in when he wants and say, give me a title match. I mean, I guess you got that kind of clout. You can kind of just come and do whatever you want. Makes total sense. Roman Reigns will be overrated if that happens. Wrong against the Nation Dog. I just think you're wrong, bro. I think your Reigns take is just wrong. I can't agree with you on that one.
Anti-Reigns, this one.
He's anti-Reigns, yeah. Mills Dom Goldberg, a big own. I'm not a huge fan of Goldberg. I was in the 90s when I was a kid, but I just haven't been for a while. Not that I hate on him when he comes back. If Roman Reigns beats Goldberg, it would make him stronger. I think if Roman Reigns beats John Cena or The Rock, it makes him 20,000 times stronger. I just think the marquee name of it is what makes it more important rather than him actually beating the guy. So let's kick it over to the men's Money in the Bank. We have Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Riddle, Ricochet, Johnny Drip Drip, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Seth Rollins in this match. No Cesaro, so it sucks to be Cesaro. This is an interesting one because it can go many, many ways. Does Drew McIntyre win it and get back into the main event fold because he cannot face Bobby Lashley anymore? So does that mean he makes it his way to SmackDown and takes on Roman Reigns maybe later on SummerSlam, something like that? Does Riddle win because he's been prominent on the show and he's one of those guys who seems like he can make the leap to the main event picture? Ricochet, I don't think he's going to win. Johnny Drip Chip, don't think he's going to win. Big E is another interesting one. It's a guy who maybe wins it and goes to Monday Night Raw to rejoin his compatriots to the New Day. Shinsuke Nakamura, I don't think he's winning it. Seth Rollins, an interesting one because you have the caveat of Edge. I'll start my prediction off by saying that Big E's going to win this one. I think Big E's going to win, go to Monday Night Raw, and that's the only way they're going to know how to book him. But I'll kick it over to Dan. Who do you think is winning this one?
This is so unpredictable. There's so many different routes, and I try to think. Jenny can't find any of it because I was leaning towards Drew, but I just feel Jinder's gonna cost him during the match. You know, he got these two big, which is Rhea and Shanky, I believe their names are. They're massive. They can yank Drew off. Riddle, I think, would be good, but I don't know. I think maybe there's still stuff left to vote on. Big E, I don't know if it's his time yet. I don't know. I still don't think he's maybe not at that level yet to be Money in the Bank. But Big E in the Bank, you know, that's going to sell merch. It's really tough this year. It's so hard to predict. Definitely won't be Ricochet. Definitely won't be Morrison. Definitely won't be Nakamura. So it's down to Riddle, Seth, and I'm going to go Kevin. Oh, actually, I'm going to go Riddle, actually. Yeah, I think
Riddle?
they're going to give him prominent role.
I mean, I could see it happening now with the caveat of this, right? It's like you win Money in the Bank so close to the draft, it becomes an interesting piece to the draft. It's like, oh, I just drafted the guy to Monday Night Raw who has Money in the Bank. So you draft, let's say Big E wins it, you're like, oh, he just got drafted to Monday Night Raw. They have the Money in the Bank winner, and you kind of have that face to face between him and Lashley if Lashley's still the champion. So I think it works out that way. That's why I picked Big E. Drew McIntyre is a guy who can win it, and then there's that kind of like loophole. It's like he's not allowed because he lost the Hell in the Cell match. He's not allowed to face Lashley again, but he does have Money in the Bank. So does he get drafted to SmackDown? And then you have Lashley, McIntyre, Reigns over there. Yeah, tons of different ways you can kind of go with it. So it's interesting. Now, I said Seth Rollins an interesting one because he had the altercation with the back and forth with Edge on SmackDown, talking about 2014 when Edge was there, still retired, and he got curb stomped by Seth Rollins. So it seems like the rumored match between Seth Rollins and Edge seems to be happening at SummerSlam. So I think Edge may play a role in this if he doesn't, or Seth Rollins may play a role in the main event because obviously Reigns is going to end the show. But before I keep going further, Mekz, let me get your thoughts on this match.
Very unpredictable. When Drew got put in, I think it was, oh my God, Drew's going to win again. But I think, like Dan said, Jinder is probably going to be his undoing. However, there is obviously an opportunity for Drew to win and then actually cost Lashley the championship against Kofi, maybe. Obviously, we saw Lashley go into cahoots with Miz and all of that stuff. That costed Drew the championship. So Drew could do the same and then go after the champion. But I don't think it'll be him. Riddle is a very strong choice because they just love him. He's been brilliant. He has been very, very good. So, but I personally think he is maybe about a year too early from being champion. But having said that, he can hold the briefcase for a year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't have to be right now, sort of thing. And I think, did I dream this or did he say this, that he wants to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase to become tag team champions with Randy Orton?
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
So yeah.
We lose him. Then we lost Mekz.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I can still hear you. Yep. I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean that could be some.
Some connection issues with Mekz. So I'll jump in here. So yeah, I understand what he's saying when it comes to Riddle. I know Bruce Pritchard's a big Riddle guy, so he's still out there, working with them in WWE. Makes sense as to Riddle, as to why they like him so much. He can win it, have a little bit of fun with it, but he still has stuff for Randy Orton. That's why I don't think he will win it. That's the whole thing. Is that Randy Orton's still in the picture, so he may not win it. Again, when it comes to Rollins, he could win it and then cash it in at the main event. That's an interesting thing you can do there as well, and set up the triple threat at SummerSlam between Reigns, Edge, and Rollins. You could do that as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. As Mekz tries to connect back with us, let's get into the chat. C Nation Dog come back with the Reigns hate right here. C Nation Dog says, if Roman Reigns holds the Universal Championship for 3 years, people will be sick of it. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think people will be down with it. If it's the same Reigns and it just continues to evolve better, I think we'll all be down with it. What do you think, Dan? Would you be down with a 3-year run of Reigns as the champion?
Yeah, I feel like we don't get long reigns with champions these days, and we don't get 3-year ones where it's been prominent across the 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think the 3-year reign, they are going to hold off for Roman vs. Rock, and I'm sure they're going to put the title on that match whenever it does happen. So I think they can either have Reigns hold it for as long as until they can get the Rock in, or it'll be Reigns lose it, wins it back before the Rock. And the Roman, he is wrestling, he is the star. You cannot fault Roman at the moment. It's not 2015 anymore. He's not getting shoved down our throats. I think he's only wrestled the odd 2 or 3 times on actual SmackDown, despite him being there every week. I think he's doing so good. I think people aren't going to mind. Yes, he might feel a bit silly at times, but there's always going to be a marquee match for him to have. So
well, it's interesting you say that, right? Because C Nation Dog will say here, Roman Reigns already beat John Cena, but that's 2015 era Roman Reigns, was nobody liked.
Long time ago.
Yeah, because like you said, this isn't 2015 Roman. This is a completely different animal here. So him versus Cena now is absolutely just mega marquee matchup because Roman is the biggest thing in wrestling right now. I think he's the most important thing in wrestling, the biggest thing. Everybody, it's tough to find people. C Nation Dog being one of those guys who's not down with really Roman right now. It's tough to find him though. Eric in the chat, my cousin Eric, your boy Drip, it got fucking wishes his name was that. C Nation Dog, I'm not the only one who wants to see Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship. Vince McMahon does too. Yeah, but Vince loves to see Goldberg with everybody. It's pretty interesting. The Wildcats, CJ Omega, what up? Hey Wildcat, how you doing? Thank you for joining us here. Mills Dom, Riddle won Dan's 2K19 video.
Yeah, he did. Oh, thank you for watching that. Wow, what a reference that is. That is sharp. Fair play. Mills. Wow.
I saw that you did that. So you made a video, right? Of 2K19 kind of doing the Money in the Bank match?
Yeah, Riddle one, which I want to see in real life. I think the thing is, Bro in the Bank is money. That's going to shift it off me. The Bro in the Bank. And also, it's a good way out for Orton as well. Orton could just get so jealous of him having Money in the Bank. He tries to fight it off him. In the end, use Riddle to maybe cash it in for him, try and manipulate Riddle, which I could see. Which I think that'd be quite a unique thing they could do. Maybe have Orton try and manipulate Riddle, get Riddle high or something, have him cash in on Orton's behalf. Something like that.
There's a lot of ways they can go with it with Riddle because he's such a kind of out there character. They can add a lot of things. But Mekz is back. So Mekz, now you're back. Finish up your thoughts on the Money in the Bank match.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, basically, even just then, I was thinking, how hasn't a heel Kevin Owens won the Money in the Bank briefcase? That would be gold. I think the winner's gonna be Big E.
Okay.
I think Big E has suffered on SmackDown with this singles push they said they're going to give him. He hasn't really done anything, if we're honest with ourselves. Had the Intercontinental run, then he started building up Apollo Crews when he's the one that's supposed to be being built up. And now Apollo Crews has taken the belt and ran with it. So yeah, very much like you said, he can win the belt, hold it for a while, and then go over to Raw. To be honest, we may see him just kind of appear, depending on the placement of the matches, because if Kofi Kingston gets annihilated by Bobby Lashley, like we're saying at the pay-per-view, at that point Bobby Lashley would have annihilated Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. So if Big E already has the championship, already has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and just kind of turns up, beats him up, and then it's like, oh, hold on, I can cash in on him right here, sort of thing. That could be something as well. So it might not necessarily for Big E have to wait till the draft. So yeah, I think Big E could possibly win it. And even if it does wait till the draft, Raw is very short of baby faces at the top to kind of challenge for the championship. So I think that's a key thing with putting the briefcase with Big E and him getting transferred over. So, yeah.
It makes total sense. But again, it's the most unpredictable match on the card by like a mile. So I think we're gonna be surprised as to who wins this one, to be honest with you. I think we might all be wrong, to be honest with you, on this one. So we all might take a big L like we took for LA Knight. Let's get back to the chat, because this is getting kind of interesting. Eric will go on to say, "No, Cena Nation, you're the only person on earth who wants to see Goldberg wrestle again." C Nation Dog will say Money in the Bank and Slammiversary this weekend. It's true. It's big weekend. Yeah, we have the Smackdown on Friday, then we have Slammiversary I think on Saturday, and then we have Money in the Bank Sunday, and then we have Monday Night Raw on Monday. So 4 right there, all with fans back. It's gonna be awesome. Interesting to see who Deonna Purrazzo faces. What do you guys thoughts on that real quick? Who's Purrazzo face? Because now Chelsea Green obviously showing up in ROH, right? It's part of that tournament for the title. How's that gonna go?
I think it's still Chelsea Green.
Okay, you think she's gonna still be able to go both shows? Yeah,
that's Chelsea Green's her best friend, like her best friend, bestie. Like I honestly think it's gonna be, and obviously Chelsea Green has worked for Impact or TNA, whatever incarnation it was. She's been there before, so yeah. If it's not her, maybe Ruby Riott or Ruby. What's her name now? Soho, Ruby So something. Or
I have no idea, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, if it's not her, it might be Ruby, but I think it's Chelsea Green.
Okay, yeah, I mean it makes sense. Like unless you sign an exclusive ROH deal where she can't wrestle anywhere else, which I doubt it. Yeah, she'll probably be over there as well. C Nation Dog, no, Eric. Other people and Vince McMahon want to see it too. Eric going to say Vince is senile. I guess. West Coast Podcast. Give this to Morrison. He can keep having great matches on Raw to get fans behind him. Take Miz off TV. Then when Miz is healthy, he can ruin the cash in and start their inevitable feud. Zach, that's actually a good solid thing there.
I like that.
Morrison is a guy who deserves a lot better than what he's gotten. Tremendous performer, tremendous character. He's a fun guy, right? So he has a nice charisma to him, and he comes off well on television, and obviously stuff like that. It would be a good story for them to inevitably do that. I just don't feel like they ever want to kind of. I feel like, to be honest with you, like I remember Arn Anderson saying when John Morrison showed up in WWE again that he's like, oh, he's just happy he's collecting a paycheck. That's because that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna collect a paycheck, not do anything of importance. And so far, he's been right about it. I kind of hope that changes, and the inevitable feud between them is gonna happen. But God knows when it actually is. But this would have been a good time to actually do it.
I had like not just like West Coast Podcast mentioned there, I think it was. So this is what I was kind of pitching early on when we saw who was qualifying. I said, what if they do something like that with Ricochet? Like, we know he can have fantastic matches, and they can keep putting him in matches on Raw like they've been doing in the last few weeks, building him up, giving him lots of wins. So eventually, he's got the briefcase, he cashes in on a champion. But he maybe not necessarily wins. He has a full-on match, nothing sneaky, but he doesn't win. And I think what the whole point of that is that it's not going to be for much longer where our champions look like Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. There's going to be a time where the next crop of champions look like Finn Balor and Riddle and Adam Cole, and that's when Ricochet could really, you could look at him and think, okay, this guy could possibly be a WWE champion, because just the physical size of the champions has become a lot smaller. So yeah, it could be something like John Morrison to build him up for another story. I mean, it's you don't want to kind of devalue the Money in the Bank at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we know those guys are in there for spots, but it could be something other than that as well.
It could be a shocker. I mean, to be honest, like, you know, it'd be pretty cool. Like, you come out and oh, John Morrison won. Oh, you know, shit. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Like, could be a pretty cool thing.
Otis won it. Otis won it
Exactly.
without climbing the ladder. So John Morrison and Ricochet have got a great chance if you kind of weigh it up like that.
Yeah, definitely. Now he would go on Cersei Nation Dogs here. Roman Reigns can't hold the Universal title for 3 years. I can go for 2, but 3 is way too much. Now Dan said he was down for it when I asked him. Now that you're back, Mekz, what do you think? Are you okay with a 3-year run for Roman Reigns as champion?
Look, the only way I see him losing this title, how they're booking him, is if he's cashed in on.
Yes.
Like, no one should be beating Roman. Absolutely True. No one. Like, I don't care who you bring. Like, even if it's like a what do you call it match, like a multi-man match, you know, Roman ultimately will always have the Usos in his corner, so he shouldn't even lose those. Really, that should be a handicap match. So yeah, I'm prepared to ride this Roman kind of whole thing for at least, like we're saying, if it's WrestleMania, Hollywood, or whatever they're saying, where we might get The Rock. Not that The Rock needs the title in his matches, but yeah, let's go till then. I'm happy with everything I've seen so far.
Makes sense, but that leads us into this next question from Kavion. He says, do you think Rock and Roman will happen at 38 or 39? I think 30.
Which one's Hollywood?
39. 38 is the Dallas one. So
that's where it's happening.
Yeah, I think it'll happen in LA because it's easier logistically. And then on top of that, he's still got Black Adam coming out. He's got another whatever random movie coming out with The Rock. So it all depends on how his schedule is going to go going towards that. I don't think it's going to happen 30. I think it happens 39 as well. What about you, Dan? What do you think?
30. It fits Hollywood theme so much better. Just makes it's like all the stars aligned for it to be Hollywood. 39. Rock, you know, Mr. Hollywood himself, The Rock. Versus Roman Reigns, who was wrestling's Hollywood. Like, for me, it has to be 39.
Yeah, I think it has to be as well. Here we go.
It's a passing of the torch in a wrestling, you know, kind of way, sort of thing. Even though obviously Rock's been long gone, sort of thing. But it's also, if they do it at LA, it could be the introduction or reintroduction to Hollywood for Roman Reigns if he wishes to get into that, you know, post wrestling. So, yeah, it's got to be LA.
I think it has to be. See, Nation Dog with an interesting take. I like 2015 Roman Reigns.
So do I.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
I've been a big fan of Roman Reigns since FCW.
I mean, it's like it's the fact that he just it wasn't him. It was just the stuff they were giving him to say, which was the problem. Like, to be honest with you, like his promos was just just ridiculous stuff that he was saying. It just come off like super disingenuous, and you knew it wasn't him saying it. That was the problem with 2015 Roman Reigns and previous.
I was the guy dragging my friends to the TV screen, like, oh, look at this guy. He's The Rock's cousin. He's gonna be the next guy, and they'll watch Roman Reigns in 2015 and think, this guy is not it. Like, Mekz, I don't know what you're seeing, but this guy is not it. And now, like, we're seeing how great he is. I was last summer, I'm almost like so protective, like, no, you guys didn't like him, this is my Roman Reigns. Like, but yeah, it's been a great transformation. It just shows when you give someone a bit of control over their own character, like, no one knows you better than you. So yeah, let people have that kind of bit more freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Eric going to say, shout out to Morrison and Ricochet. Great match, guys. We're in the first main event, first episode, Lucha Underground. Johnny Mundo versus Prince Puma. Good to see them out there doing their thing. True story. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see them out there doing their thing. Never say I am a tribal chief, Roman Reigns hater. I just don't want him to hold the Universal title for 3 years. We'll see what happens. I mean, to be honest with you, someone has to beat tribal chief Roman Reigns eventually. Yeah, it's just the problem is you got to build somebody to defeat him in that way, whether it be a fluky Money in the Bank win, cash in, or somebody that's been built up to get to that level. Tough to get somebody to that level.
The only person that's beaten Roman Reigns is Drew McIntyre. That is the only person that's going to beat Roman. And yeah, you know, right now they're not even on the same show, so that might take another year to happen, depending where they both are. But yeah, Roman's only dropping that title to Drew after all this hard work.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be the 38 main event. Is gonna be Drew versus Roman in the main event. I think that's gonna be it. Juggernaut, hey Justin, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. He says, "What if Big E wins Money in the Bank and Kofi wins the title and then gets cashed in on?" That's an interesting one right there. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah.
I said this 3 weeks ago. Like if they do that, that could be absolutely brilliant. I mean, let Kofi win it, and literally the same kind of 7 seconds that haunted him against Brock Lesnar. 7 seconds later, he's laid out by Big E, cashes in, makes Big E a massive heel. But it's like I had to do it. Like those kind of heels that kind of explain themselves rationally.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I had the briefcase sort of thing. So yeah, that could be pretty cool, but I know they won't do that.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt they would ever go that like to that level, to that something like that. But it'd be awesome. What do you think, Dan? Do you like that? You'd like Big E cashing in on a champion, Kofi Kingston?
Well, Big E, the storyline is already there for him without him turning heel. You know, Kofi's beat Lashley. Xavier Woods has beat Lashley. They've got this close. And if Kofi gets the march at the pay-per-view, Big E comes over. Oh, you can't do that to my mate. You know, I've got the briefcase. And Big E versus Lashley would be a big match. So the storyline's there from now, whether he turns heel or not. So it does make sense. But I would not like to see it. I don't think New Day, I think one of the teams, they should never split up. It's like with the Shield, they could go their own separate ways. Like, I feel like with Kofi and Xavier, they're not going to go much further than they are. So I think they should not split the New Day up ever.
I understand that, because I feel like the three of them have to be kind of like together at some form of another, to kind of be by themselves. Like, they still got to have themselves like around each other, even though one of them is a singles. This is an interesting one. Sorry to be off topic, but I still can't believe Bandito was the one to take the ROH World Championship off of Roosh. I'm sorry. What do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, it was. The thing is, Bandido, he's so good. Like, I can buy it, I can believe it, sort of thing, because he's just like one of these. He's a premier lucha for me. Like, he's just so good at what he does. So,
yeah, I mean, I saw. It's interesting, right? Because like, you can be, it's subjective. It's like who's to say who is the guy to take off the title off of who, right? It's like whoever. It's just and then whoever you like. Okay, so we have this movie called Ruby Soho. Is her name, like you were saying, or Britt Baker? Oh, Britt Baker, dude. I thought about this one a couple of days ago. I think it was like yesterday, or the day before. I was like, what if Britt Baker goes over there? It's kind of like the Kenny Omega of the women's division, right? Tries to take the Impact title. Now that would destroy Impact completely, I think, if another AEW person takes their title away. But she could be, the belt collector for the women. I mean, it makes total sense. That's a good shout from Noob right there for Britt Baker, to be honest with you. That's pretty cool.
He'll destroy Britt Baker as well if she doesn't win.
That is true, right? Because does make a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess you could do like a smozzy finish and like the no contest type of thing. Sports fan, would you like to see Cesaro dethrone Apollo for the IC title? I say no. I think he needs to be a world champion, not go back down to the mid card. But Dan, let me get your opinion on this one first.
Oh, Cesaro, to be honest, I don't know if he is tight already, because he can't cut promo. And at first, when he faced Roman, we finally had this big Cesaro push everyone's clamoring for, I found it really underwhelming. And in my mind, I just thought, as good as he is in the ring, you need a lot more than just good in ring work these days.
Yeah.
Like, you could be the best in the ring, but if no one's got a reason to care for you, why are they going to stay and watch your 20-minute match, no matter how good it is? So it's like, I'd rather see Apollo keep it and maybe Cesaro just do his thing, what he's doing now, just have solid matches on SmackDown each week, rebuild back up his reputation, maybe go back in the tag division. But for me, you just don't cut it for me at the moment.
I honestly agree with you, like, wholeheartedly. I think he doesn't have what, like, you as, like, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan and you know him from like his independent days, then you're behind. That's what Cesaro section is all about. It's all about those type of fans who've seen him back then and they want to see him succeed just because he's a tremendous wrestler. People that really care more about the wrestling than the actual overall product, the overall package, of the guy. But he doesn't have what you need to get to that next level and be the guy. He just doesn't have it. I mean, some people do, some people don't. But Mekz, let me get your thoughts on this.
Towards the beginning of the year, obviously, he was quite hot, getting ready for his WrestleMania singles match with Rollins. A lot of people were calling for him to be in the world title scene. After WrestleMania, he got his opportunity in that scene with Roman Reigns. And obviously, Roman Reigns is on a complete different level right now, so it's a bit hard to judge Cesaro by the kind of same standard. But he was exposed. He was exposed that he's nowhere near like the standard level. If like this is the Bobby Lashley level and this is Roman Reigns, he's not even like at this level yet. So I think where Cesaro will thrive, like you both said, if he just has brilliant matches week after week on SmackDown, if he is maybe a mid-card champion and he could just walk out there, nothing said, open challenge, who wants it? And just literally blow us away week on week with just great matches. Yeah, I think that's his best bet, because the world title thing, I was in Cesaro's section, but I can't even lie anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to see him as a world champion. Yeah, I don't know.
I totally agree. Right, like he was completely exposed. Like he felt, it just, you could tell he didn't belong in that setting with those people that were in the ring. Now, I think he should be a world champion, but in the terms of he needs to have an organic Daniel Bryan-esque build where he's there, he doesn't get the opportunities. Eventually, it becomes undeniable that even though Daniel Bryan really isn't that great of a character in a promo, he got better over time. But what got him to the dance into that position was the fact that everywhere they went, the fans were cheering the most for him. So Cesaro ever gets to that level where he's the most cheered person on the show week in, week out, then it's undeniable at that point. Like, okay, he doesn't really cut it in terms of a character and a promo and the presence in that spot. But we got to give the fans what they want eventually, because they'll just boo the living hell out of everybody else surrounding him. That's the only way I see it happening.
Cesaro could be that person tomorrow, literally. Like the minute fans come back, Cesaro can be exactly that guy you just described. But in Cesaro's case, I still don't think it's him. Like Daniel Bryan had something there. And he, like you said, he got better. Kofi Kingston, that got carried by the crowd. There was something there, and he's excelled. With Cesaro, the crowd can't cut the promos for you. You see what I mean? So, the crowd, I don't see it.
It's a tough call, but let's get to the rest of these comments here. Nubico, speaking of changes, hopefully we might see some changes in WWE's women's division in terms of storytelling, characters, and matches. We might see a heel turn for Asuka this Sunday. I think Asuka needs a mean streak again. I think she needs to be dominant again, but she needs time off to come back and kind of change that up. C Nation Dog, respective Vince McMahon, his whole life has basically been booking WWE shows. That must be hard. I would have ran out of ideas. Yeah, they ran out of ideas many times. They've repeated stuff. But I mean, it's success. It's long-term success. And that's what you end up looking for. And that's what he's had. But they have run out of ideas over the period of time. They keep just repeating stuff. What if Roman Reigns defends the Universal Champion in a Royal Rumble? Would he be fine if he lost it then? Yes. If he lost it in terms of I'm defending, like Brock Lesnar did, right? Like, he's in the champion in there, but he's actually defending and putting on the line. It would make sense logically for him to lose that match because it's a tough ask, right?
Let him win it. like that would be, I think that might even be good to kind of build up, like you said, if they're going to do Roman versus Drew at WrestleMania next year, possibly, and Drew beats Roman at WrestleMania, because I think they've had 2 matches now and Roman's beaten him twice. I wouldn't mind if it's a thing where Roman squashes the entire roster. Drew wasn't in the Rumble and he said, well, you beat everybody, but you didn't beat me, sort of thing. And that's what leads to their WrestleMania match. And then Drew beats him at Mania. But I think, the last kind of icing on this run would be for Roman to do something. He already stacked and pinned and all of that to Bryan and Edge. If we need like one more moment like that of just pure dominance, I think, before he can drop the title.
Makes sense. Put the icing on the cake there. Juggernaut would say, I don't mind Roman, but I hated the way he was booked down our throat. Talk about 2015 Roman. C Nation Dog, I agree. I think 2015 was booked bad, but I still like him. Yeah, it's the booking, the promo work and stuff like that. So this is an interesting one from Little Fettuccine 69. Favorite Money in the Bank cash in. Dan, I'll start with you. What's your favorite cash in of Money in the Bank?
Oh, it's obvious. Seth Rollins, WrestleMania 31. First thing comes to mind. First ever show I watched, and that got me hooked into wrestling. Probably the best cash-in of all time, in my opinion. To do it to Roman as well. It's just perfect. Crowd went crazy. It's one of the things, you knew it was coming, but when it happened, you just still lost your mind because of how good it was done. And it is literally a heist of the century. So 100% Seth Rollins.
Yeah. You agree with him, Mekz?
100%. I actually watched this match this afternoon. because I just love that moment. Like Dan just said, I actually was just getting back into wrestling just before that WrestleMania, and then when I watched that WrestleMania 31, I thought, yeah, man, like this is good.
Stuff.
Like this is good stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
here, especially with that ending. Like Seth Rollins, I hated him for a complete year, and then he done that to, like I say, one of my favorites at the time. And I said, yeah, this guy is dastardly. Like he needs to die for this. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. Best cash in ever.
Yeah. Now this is an interesting one. Favorite Money in the Bank match. Dan, I'll start with you. What's your favorite match? Money in the Bank match. That's a tough one. I mean, to me, so many.
That is quite a tough one. 2016 pops into my head just because the fact the way it was done, and then the way it was used with Dean Ambrose cashing straight away. I believe it was 2011 or 2013. We had Sin Cara, Sheamus. It all them lot. It was more like a mid card Money Bank, but that one match ended up being really good. But I'd say in total 2016 when Ambrose won it, and he cashed in as soon as Rollins won the belt off Roman, which no one expected. And that's probably one of the most entertaining moments of all time.
What about you, Max?
I can't remember the exact year it was. I can't even remember who won it now. But it was a year that Finn Balor and Andrade were in the match. It might have been 2019, maybe 2018. Yeah, Finn Balor was in the match. Andrade was in the match. I can't even remember the winner, but that was a really fun match. And to be honest, the very early Money in the Banks that were at WrestleMania.
Yes, those are my favorite ones. Yeah,
those were really, really, really good. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't watching too much at that time, so it's something I've kind of went back and watched. But those matches were really good.
Yeah, those are the ones I enjoy the most. Are the ones at WrestleMania. But let's get to the final match to predict Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. I think it's gonna be an interesting one because a lot of things can happen, and I think it's setting up big for SummerSlam, and we'll see what happens there. But I think Reigns wins; he ends the show winning it. I think there's gonna be something from Seth Rollins involved here, or somebody else maybe. But I think Seth Rollins is gonna get involved here to set up Rollins versus Edge. So I'm picking Reigns. It's an easy pick for me. What do you think, Dan? Who you picking?
Oh, this is a WrestleMania main event we're getting, but it's gonna be a really good match. It's what we've all been clamoring for. Because Brian kind of ruined the whole thing. Mania 37. So this is what we have been clamoring for. Roman is obviously going to win. I feel like Seth, it is Britain quite obvious. Seth will come cost Edge in some capacity. So yeah, this match is going to be good. It's going to be, the quality in the ring is going to be super high. It always is with Edge. And now especially Roman. Yeah, but it's quite obvious Roman's going to retain.
Yeah, I think you say the same, Max, right? I'm assuming.
Exactly same thing. Yeah, maybe by the hands of Seth Rollins to set up their SummerSlam match, Edge and Rollins at SummerSlam. But one thing I'll disagree with Daniel Bryan made that WrestleMania.
Oh no,
match. He did not ruin it. No chance. That feud, in my opinion, was absolute nonsense, rubbish, boring. Like, that was a lull point in everything great that Roman has done. You know, when Edge is just walking around, I might pick you, Roman, I might pick you, Drew, and all this kind of stuff. Daniel Bryan coming into that story just made everything just tie together, and I thought Daniel Bryan more or less saved that story.
No, I agree with
WrestleMania was brilliant, but
I agree with that. I mean, he took the match away from us, so he took that one-on-one match away.
I can't lie. I never wanted to see them one-on-one.
You're gonna get it this Sunday.
I know. Yeah. I'm still not overly interested, but I'm very confident. Obviously, Roman wins, so I'm looking forward to Roman beating him. But,
All right, so let's finish up that's the predictions. Let's finish up the things in the chat, and then we'll finish up the stream. Martin Carrillo, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, how you doing, Martin? Thanks for joining us. Hope that WWE delivers at Money in the Bank. It's crucial so it can go back to what they do best once again. Yes, definitely, it's a very, very important pay-per-view for the fans. They got to deliver to get back into the fold. I feel sorry for Cesaro because Daddy Daniel was talking for him. Yes, dude, that was bad, man. When he came in and then Reigns kind of was just like, who the hell are you? I'm gonna focus on Daniel Bryan. That was the end of it right there. That episode of SmackDown was like the end of Cesaro right there. Sports fan, who would you rather see dethrone Sheamus, Keith Lee or Damian Priest? I'd rather see Keith Lee because he's been gone for so long, but I'm cool with Damian Priest doing it as well. But I think I would rather see Keith Lee doing it.
Yeah, likewise, I'd agree. That would be my first pick. But at the same time, it looks like, although yes, he's been off TV practically for a month.
Yeah,
it looks like they have good plans for Damian Priest somewhere down the line. So whilst he's about, yeah, keep him warm and get him involved with the championship.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? Keith Lee or Damian Priest?
I'm gonna go Priest, honest. I think Lee, just from no fault of him, I think he's out the other end of the door. It won't surprise me if he's not in WWE by the end of the year. I think he's been off for so long, and they're not gonna keep him there if he's medical reasons or they want to clear him. I think Keith Lee might think he could get cleared somewhere else. So I'm just gonna go with Priest.
Makes sense. Yeah. We'll see what happens as the no info story unfolds of Keith Lee. How we get no info as to what's actually going on. Martin Carrillo will say, should the Money in the Bank pay-per-view be called that or should they make a new name for the match stipulation? No, I think it's fine. I just don't think they should make a pay-per-view about it. I think it should have been back where like WrestleMania was, Money in the Bank was then. I think that's probably was better than actually. I'm not a huge fan of like Hell in a Cell, Chamber, like revolving a pay-per-view around a specific gimmick match. I think it's not the right move to do. C Nation Dog, I thought a heel turn was coming for Asuka after Nikki Ash rolled her up. Like I said, I think Asuka needs to go away, come back as a badass again. I just think time away will kind of make that better. Martin Carrillo will say, it is really confusing on how fans want Seth to turn face, but doesn't anyone remember late 2019? What happened? They didn't get behind them. How can fans appreciate a real babyface on the main roster? It is tough to have an actual babyface that you care about unless it's organically done, like a Daniel Bryan, like a Kofi Kingston. But it's tough. It is tough to get a guy who's a good guy to be behind them as much as most, as like when it happens organically like that. It's tough. I just think everybody's like really corny when they're babyface sometimes.
People were behind Seth. If you remember, like I can't remember. I think it was the beginning of 2019 when he was just doing those gauntlet matches, and the thing was they were just letting Seth go out and be Seth. This is very much at the point where everyone was saying who's better, Seth or Omega, and Raw were basically letting Seth go out and prove that he's the best wrestler in the world. And there was less talking and promos and those rubbish WWE babyface promos, and it was just literally letting Seth go, and to the point he won the Royal Rumble, and then he challenged Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That's the best way to get people over, I guess, where WWE don't tend to be able to write very well for their baby faces. Just let them go out and have, their brilliant matches over and over again. I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I would say cater to two type of fans, the hardcore wrestling fan and the mainstream fan. You have to have babyface be a tremendous in-ring performer and have tremendous matches and give him the time for that, but also give him a character-wise that people can get behind. It's the tough balance between the two things. Here we go. C Nation Dog. Actually, I'd be fine with Roman Reigns holding the Universal title championship for 3 years. I was just thinking that if he runs out of people to face, that's a problem that could happen where he just has no challengers whatsoever. And it seems to be a road they're kind of heading down eventually. Like they don't really have much challenges, so they're gonna have to bring guys from like the scrap heap and kind of just bring them in to kind of feed them to Reigns, or legends come back to face him. So tough call.
In my opinion, they've already run out of credible people to face him. But I think he should. Do you remember? I think it was a couple of weeks ago where he was going to make an announcement, and then I think that's when Edge came in.
Yes.
Maybe they're still going to return to this, and maybe that's what brings John Cena back. But I think Raymond was going to say something like, I've beaten everyone here, that I'm not defending this belt anymore. I'm just going to hold it. It's like it's my forever championship now, because there's no one to challenge for it. They may just do something like that, which might bide them a time for a month or two.
Definitely, yeah. It's tough because like you're already getting to that point, so it's like you got to bring guys like legends into to face them. See, Nation Dog, the moment WWE ruined Money in the Bank is when Baron Corbin won Money in the Bank, but the Money in the Bank could be revived this year if booked correctly. It's tough. I just think the pay-per-view is what kills it, like being wrapped around. So Martin goes on to say, which Money in the Bank holder for you guys was forgettable and cash-in didn't feel special? I barely remember Jack Swagger's run. Dan, let me kick it over to you. What is the most forgettable Money in the Bank cash-in or holder?
Fully Braun Strowman. I think a lot of people forgot he actually won Money in the Bank.
Yes, I forgot that as well. Yep.
So you
Monster
got
in
a
the Bank
Braun
Award.
Strowman. People forgot he actually won the thing, so that just says it all, really.
Yeah. What about you, Mekz?
What was the question? Most forgettable cash-in?
Yeah. Well, for forgettable person and cash in, I guess, both.
Again, it's a bit of an odd one, but Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar won that thing, started dancing with it. Who did he cash in on? Was it Seth Rollins?
Yeah,
Seth, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even remember where it was. Was it in a Hell in a Cell or something?
Extreme Rules, I think it was.
Extreme Rules. Yeah, it was. There's worse people than Braun and Brock and stuff, but for those guys of that magnitude, yeah, their actual cash-ins and runs after that, or if they had a run, was kind of non-existent. So yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say Damien Sandow for me. That's probably the most forgettable person to win that thing was Damien Sandow. Martin Carrillo, imagine if Lily is inside the Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank briefcase. That'll be so just ridiculous if that was to happen.
As in inside the actual briefcase.
So they open and they're like, yeah. I mean, if Eva Marie was in the match, I would assume that would happen to her probably. I think that probably makes sense. C Nation Dog, why do WWE make faces look weak? It's like there's different types of heels and there's different types of baby faces. It's a tough balance between the two. It's like somebody has to beat somebody in the end. So it's like if somebody loses, it doesn't mean they look always weak. It's tough because then it's like it's a difficult balance because then like if they lose, they look weak. If they win too much, you're pushing it down their throat. It's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. In the end, it's a tough balance to kind of make between the two. But WWE does a good job because they don't let guys be themselves. So that tends to be the problem there. What do you think, Max? Will you go ahead?
No, yeah, just what you said. I echo exactly what you said.
Yeah. C Nation Dog. Oh, what if Alexa Bliss uses her powers on the fans? What do you mean? Start slapping each other?
If I see anything like that, there's definitely plants inside the crowd. 100%.
Big time. Mark Carrillo say the fans have never turned on Daniel Bryan. I'm pretty sure his moment was at the right time, and that is how it has to happen. Yeah, I think it has to happen organically. Everything kind of has to line up, just like Kofi Kingston, just like Daniel Bryan. I think it could happen for Cesaro. Mekz, on the other hand, doesn't think it's going to happen for Cesaro, even in that aspect.
Yeah, it's just not enough. I mean, there has to be obviously Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston. There was something that brought them to the dance, right? But when they got to the dance, they were able to stick around, But it's more than just having brilliant matches. Like he has to come out, even if he's going to call someone out for a brilliant match, he has to call them out. So it's just that side of his personality is just not there to be a WWE champion.
Yeah, I don't think it's there either. Ryan Austin says Mr. Kennedy, forgettable Money in the Bank holder. The only reason you remember Mr. Kennedy, I remember Mr. Kennedy because he said he was going to cash it in at the following WrestleMania because he won at WrestleMania. So he was going to follow in. He won at 23. He was going to cash it in at 24 and be in the main event. He got hurt, dropped it to Edge. So he gave the briefcase to Edge. C Nation Dog, if Alexa Bliss does it on me, I would say your powers are fake and you're cringe. LOL. All right, so let's end it on this last comment right here, and then we'll end the stream. This is an interesting one. It says, great job, guys. The real winners Sunday will be those watching Anthony's post show with us because I will be doing a review live with West Coast Pop. As long as his check clears with my agent. Watch NXT with us tonight. That's from Zach. Yeah, they're doing a watch along for tonight's NXT episode. Make sure you check out West Coast Popcast and watch along the show with them. His whole thing about the check clearing, I'm not sure. I gotta check the bank. I gotta see how that one's gonna work. But yeah, make sure you check out that live stream tonight with them, and then you check out our review of anything like that. Are any of you doing live reactions?
I may do, but I'm definitely just gonna pull out, and we've got 2 ladder matches to talk about, and basically fantasy book what the next couple of weeks or months will look like. So I'll definitely be having a conversation on my channel about that. There
you go. Dan, you doing any live reactions for the?
Well, I'll do a reaction video for Money in the Bank, and I'll just react to pay-per-view like normal. But if I do a live stream, it will be for the Friday Smackdown more than anything.
There you go. Yeah, so Martin, I'll be doing the like right after Money in the Bank finishes, me and West Coast Podcast will be going live. I'm not sure if you're in the UK or not, but it may be too late for you. But yeah, so that's the predictions we have for Money in the Bank. Should be a pretty interesting show this weekend. Thank you everybody for joining us in the comment section. We had a lot of comments, a lot of interactions, a lot of engagement. Thank you everybody for joining us for all that stuff. Really good stuff. Really do appreciate all that stuff. We had a couple more coming in. Okay, so we got here West Coast Podcast is live streaming Money in the Bank, so they'll be doing a reaction live watch along Money in the Bank. So Martin, check out West Coast Podcast because they'll be doing a live watch along of Money in the Bank, so it should be good stuff from them. Their watch alongs are always good stuff. Yeah, so that's the review predictions we have for you guys today. Make sure you tune in Sunday night after pay-per-view. We'll do reviews with West Coast Podcast on this channel. Thank you to Dan as always. Check out DWE on YouTube. Make sure you sub to his channel. Dan, let him know where to find you and everything else you got going on.
DWE uploaded a video earlier today. I showed my mate who has never watched wrestling before, wrestling for the first time. He reacted to Brock Lesnar vs AJ Styles for the first time ever. So that was quite interesting. And I'm trying to push 500 by Vegas by SummerSlam. So if we can really get to that goal, well, I'm on 330 something now. So try push for that. And yeah, that's it then.
There you go. If you haven't subbed to his channel yet, make sure you sub to his channel and get him to that 500 mark, big milestone. Mekz, what about you? What you got going on?
Yeah, it's all the usual, pulling apart the weekly shows and talking about what's going on. I'm actually taking a little hiatus this week. It was only because Anthony called me to come here that I'm here. You got to support. But yeah, I'm actually having a break. But there is more than enough wrestling videos and stuff on my channel. So yeah, you check out the stuff. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back next week with some new videos.
There you go. Mekz is putting out some of the best thumbnails right now, so make sure you check out those. I had to hit him up because his thumbnails are looking really, really good. C Nation Dog says he just subbed. I believe he's talking about Dan. So Dan, you just got a new sub right there in C Nation Dog. Love to see it every time. Again, I do appreciate Dan Mekz joining me for this hour and 40-minute stream. We went a little long. We had a lot of engagement, but it was a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody for joining us and tuning in, all that good stuff. Make sure you check out both of their channels and you check out the live stream doing after Money in the Bank, all that good stuff with West Coast Podcast. Make sure you check out West Coast Podcast live streams and watch along tonight and for Money in the Bank. And that's it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.